All right, this guy needs no introduction, but I'll give one anyways. This is Koefficient, a pretty big pillar in the VTube community as a whole, and he's going to be talking about the recent Hololive graduations. I'm not sure how much I'll have to add to this topic and conversation, but it's important to hear what this man has to say since he has been supporting the community for quite a while. Let's go ahead and check this out. My opinions on the recent graduations in Hololive by Koefficient.
So there's been some changes in Hololive, hasn't there? I mean, I think we knew that already for the past couple months.
For sure.
Actually, some could even say the past year or two. There's been some changes, and we're now seeing the fruits of those changes. So I want to talk about it and give my opinion on it. Now, pardon me, I am actually in Japan, so I might be uploading this at a weird time compared to my other videos. Actually, I've been hardly uploading this year at all. This is definitely one of those things that I've been wanting to do, but I never really thought of a good time to do it, or even if I should do it. And I think, yeah.
So this video's been cooking, just like everybody else has been cooking.
I want to do it this time.
Let's hear it.
As we all know, things have changed in Hololive. The Hololive that we knew back when Gura first debuted is not the same as it is now.
For sure.
We have seen close to double-digit graduations at this point, all discussing disagreements with management, direction of the company not being a thing that they want to follow. And I think we can make some deductions based on these facts. Now, there are two factual changes that we have seen Hololive go through. Number one, it has grown enormously to the point where it's the biggest VTuber agency of all time. Second, they went public,
Currently.
meaning you know what. Now, I don't want to blame everything on going public because that's where a lot of people are doing right now. And to be honest with you, it might actually be the case, but I'm not going to make a lot of assumptions because I want to leave things a little bit I don't know all the facts, so I'm just making my personal opinion on this based on what I know and what I believe. Let's talk about the first thing. Hololive is huge now. Their ambitions have grown extremendously, if that's even a word.
You can see it in the concerts, man.
Is extremendously a word?
Extremendously is not a word, but you can say it's grown immensely. Okay, it is now.
It is now? Okay.
Well, that is how words work. If you get enough people to say this is a word, it becomes a word. Like when people say, what do they say? Sauce me the something? I don't know what. Somebody explained that one. Someone said like Gen Z says sauce me something. I don't know. I have no idea.
Extremendously. And the fact that they got so far with the talent that they have really speaks volume as to how good all the talents are. They really wouldn't be in the place that they are now without the talents. But just like with every successful company, you want to grow more. You have more ambitions, more revenue,
more power,
more opportunities,
more money.
And that usually leads to a door that opens up.
The devil.
And behind them are investors. And usually, to be able to accommodate these ambitions, you have to have money.
Sell your soul.
And with money comes investors.
Comes power.
Going public. My thought process right now is they 100% needed to go public to be able to make all the crazy things that they've been doing come true. Over here,
it's a double-edged sword for sure.
It's insane.
We'll talk about it later.
I opened up my phone, which had a furball corone on the home screen. I would show you, but I'm recording this on my phone right now. And the lady told me corone ski.
What? Corone ski?
I just connected with someone I don't understand over a phone wallpaper that had corone.
Of course.
You see what I mean? Of course, whether or not you think them going public was a good thing or a bad thing is completely subjective. I'm not going into that. The fact of the matter is, it happened, and we're here. Now comes the part where I think is happening right now. Some of the talents were probably there because they want to have friends, and they do want to do idol stuff, and they do want to sing, and they do want to dance, but they want to do it for fun. And maybe things have happened internally, things that I don't know, that maybe don't align with that. Whatever the case may be, I don't know what it is. I do think that a lot of people, and this is the part where it's going to get, people are going to get upset at me, which I'm fine. I don't give a shit. I do think that a lot of people are blowing this up, specifically on Hololive and cover, more than it needs to. Matter of fact is, the company needs specific things from the talent. The talent don't want to provide that. So they leave. And that's it. That's just how it is.
It's
and
life,
I understand
bro.
why
It's
people
life.
are getting upset at Cover, because last time this happened, it was a huge shit show with Niji Sanji. And I don't think that Cover is a black sheep company or whatever you want to call it, right? I think they're just business oriented. That's it. And they try to accommodate the talents as best as they can. I have always been an advocate of the talent over the company. We'll talk about it later. Like, my loyalty is primarily to the talents, not to the company.
For sure.
You know, I don't really care too much about what Hololive or Cover does as long as the talents are okay. That's all I really care about, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to Hololive's or Cover's live streams. I'm going to Corone's live streams. I'm going to Gura's live streams. I'm going to Watame's. You know, I'm going to their live streams, and that's all I care about, really. I care about the individual rather than the character. Now, that's not to say that the people that think the opposite aren't validated here, because I understand that people are very upset. People care about the character over the talent sometimes. So all in all, my opinion is that this is happening because there has been a change in the company that I do think was pretty huge enough to warrant a ginormous wave of graduations, and there's probably going to be more after this. But I don't think that there's anything necessarily bad happening internally, at least not with the facts that we know now. I mean, we can theorize all day. We can start, you know, thinking of all sorts of crazy shit that's going on behind closed doors,
which will get us nowhere.
None of that is factual. And if it's not factual, I'm not going to bother with it.
Understandable.
At the end of the day, I'm a human being that has very little time on his hands, and I would like to try to cherish the time that I have right now.
All of life is finite, so try and enjoy it to the best of your abilities.
If anything does come out of this that's very bad, then of course I'll eat my words, and then I'll reassess, and I'll pick up the pitchforks with you guys. You know what I mean? But for right now, I do think that this is very mutual. I do think, well, maybe not mutual. Maybe, you know, we've heard from previous talents that they wanted to keep going. They wanted to keep things as they were, but they can't because, you know, ambitions and stuff, possibly. And that's another point I wanted to bring out as well, is that back in the day, when graduations were very, very shocking, I think a lot of the talents didn't want to graduate. Maybe they had feelings before, but they can't really do it because they thought they can't make it without their agency. But now, because of things that have happened primarily last year, and they saw the success of what happens whenever you get out and then become independent,
you can make a lot of money. You can get a lot of success.
I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Now they can see that they can make it without the agency. Having an agency has a lot of pros, but it also has a lot of cons, as we know. Hi, post-edit me here. It's morning time now. I had time to sleep on it, and I was looking back at the footage, and I wanted to add a few things. The first thing is that 5 years, which is the time period where she has been in Hololive, it's actually, or 4.5 to 5 years, has been a pretty good amount of time to give a lot of herself and to be able to build her reputation and build the company up as well.
Absolutely.
It's safe to assume that Gura is one of the most important VTubers in history. So her giving it her all for 5 years is actually a pretty good amount of time before you decide, or she decides, to move on and potentially pursue other things. Maybe some things on her own, or maybe some things that aren't that. I'm not sure. The second thing, I do think that not everything has to do with, you know, being public or having investors or having a return. This is something that maybe there is their own personal reasons. They also have their health to look out for, and whether it be mentally or physically, doesn't matter.
These are antidotes.
And I think that's a really important thing to think about in this type of situation, because the people that are there right now are willing to be able to grow within Hololive, or with Hololive and Cover by their side, but some people just don't want that. And I think that the people that are leaving now are those people that want to pursue other things without Hololive by their side. Even though they're losing out on a lot and they are sacrificing a lot. It's very brave of them to be able to leave a company like Hololive, which such a huge safety blanket for them. And now that they're leaving it, I feel like it's very brave. I feel like if I was in their shoes, I would probably stay with Hololive. I think a lot of us would, because it seems like so much fun, but we don't know what's going on.
You don't know behind
in their own personal life.
Yeah.
So personal reasons definitely have a huge thing in this type of ordeal. And the last thing is that a lot of people are wanting to control the narrative. They're wanting to make problems that aren't there, and everything seems pretty mutual.
We talked about it with her as well.
And if they can't elaborate any further, it's not as easy as, oh, here's the main reason why. If it was that easy, then we would have heard about it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But because it isn't, I don't think that's something that we should be worrying about. And I know a lot of people are very respectful about the decision, as well as the turn of events of how everything turned out. However, there are some people that are wanting to cry wolf, but there's really no wolf to be crying over. Either way, be respectful of the decisions, be respectful of the talent that are there, and be respectful to the talent that are leaving, and they might come back. I'm just grateful that there's no shit shows. If there was a shit show, this would have been, the only people that would benefit from a shit show would be drama tubers. Now, on the topic of Gura, to kind of end this off, I think that this was a long time coming, as she said in her announcement video. She has been taking breaks on and off for, it feels like the past year and a half now to 2 years. She's been just on and off. She hasn't been streaming. She's been kind of active on her past life, and it's just not been looking good for the Chum Buds, because they really haven't been getting too much content, and that's not to fault of her own, that she has her own reasons. It's safe to say that Gura's graduation was by far one of the most not anticipated, what's the word
expected.
Expected, that's what it is. It's the most expected.
Bro, W Koefficient's wife or girlfriend, man. She's literally there working on the side, and it's like, I'm looking for a word. This is the word you want, honey.
Situations.
W relationship.
Because of how infrequent she has been with her streams and her content. And I feel like right now, graduations just aren't as sad. It's weird to say this, but they're not as sad as they used to be, because before there was so much uncertainty that we wouldn't see the person behind the avatar
anymore. Then they come back.
But now we kind of have seen, we're in a space where you can leave your persona that you have built up and go to your old one or a new one and have your audience
be there
right where they left. I have no doubt that we're going to see Gura in a reincarnation.
For sure.
And
maybe.
I have no doubt that Hololive is going to continue thriving. A lot of people are thinking that the Hololive is going to die now because of Gura leaving.
That's not how that works.
I don't think that's the case. They have too many heavy hitters, and they have too much talent under their umbrella to be able to even consider the fact that they're dying, because they're not. But ultimately, what I do think is that there are some people that are going to be leaving that were around for a while and probably don't want to be around anymore because of changes that are happening.
For sure.
Or there's some disagreements. I don't think any of the talents that have been graduating actually want to leave. So I do think Cover needs to do something to be able to accommodate the current talent. For the most part, I think they're going to have new talents, new VTubers that are going to come in, new generations that are going to be more than okay with the new set of the new Hololive.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think that there's
old people that still want to join,
and there's a new Hololive.
Yeah.
Which one of them you think is better is not what I'm here for. I like Hololive in general. I like all the talents, and I like old and new because there's some great content happening on both ends of the timelines. But overall, it sucks that Gura is graduating, but I guess that's just how things are right now. So let me know what you guys think. My heart's out to all the Chum Buds.
W.
And yeah, just watch your Oshi,
Watch your Oshi.
Make sure that you you stay with them
situation
and watch their streams, and that's it.
Yeah, keep supporting for sure.
I'm gonna keep enjoying Japan.
W. Okay, I want to go back. There was a part I wanted to.
It is now. Okay. I'm just gonna extremendously, and the fact that they got so far with the talent that they have really speaks volume as to how good all the talents are. They really wouldn't be in the place that they are now without the talents. But just like with every successful company, you want to grow more.
This is the part I want to talk about. Yeah.
More revenue.
Yeah.
More opportunities.
So yeah, this is absolutely normal when it comes to corporations and companies. Like, what is the purpose of a company? The purpose of a company is to make money. That being said, Hololive has shown that it actually does care about you guys, the community. It does care about the talents. They have bent the need to help support who they have. But at the same time, when these shareholders do come in, because they are here now, and we've already heard about that one shareholder that actually wanted to replace Yagoo for whatever reason, to say like he's not a qualified leader or whatever. What he meant by that shareholder that said that, what he meant was Yagoo is not bending enough rules for us to make the most amount of money. That's all shareholders care about. Shareholders put a lot of money in expecting a lot of money in return. Like 5, 10, 15, 20x the amount of money that they put in. They want to make as much as possible, as fast as possible. These people are very, very greedy. Of course, not every single shareholder is greedy. There are people that are shareholders that actually support the company, and they are actually putting money in because they want to see a good product. And then there's other shareholders that just want to make money. They don't really even care about what Hololive is or what VTubing is. They just see, oh, this is a new market. Oh, this is a lot of people here that are spending money. Oh, I can make a lot of money. And they just do that. Those people that are in there, those are the ones that are trying to force as many policy and rule changes. And the thing is, Yagoo is very ambitious. Hololive in general is very ambitious. They are pushing the limits when it comes to this VTube technology, right? You guys remember the I can't remember what the Unreal 5, right? The Unreal 5 engine with VTuber concerts, especially if they have like VR headsets as well for the viewers, like that is very expensive technology. That is very progressive when it comes to augmented reality, right? Augmented reality, we have this already. If you've seen like the headset some people that are wearing in public, and they're like watching YouTube while on the subway train or something like that, right? That is augmented reality. That is another way to basically be in your cell phone in real life. So these people in Hololive, Yagoo, they're pushing for the experience of a lifetime. No joke. For them to actually have an Unreal 5 concert, you are literally in the video game. You are in the video game that is Hololive, right? That is very expensive, and it is very ambitious. So yes, they need to make a lot of money, which these shareholders have. But remember, these shareholders have their own ideals. They have their own ambitions. Their ambitions might not align with Hololive and bringing such an amazing once-in-a-lifetime experience. Once in a lifetime experience, because it'll be like the first time this happens. And then of course, other people are going to see it. And then, you know, society and humanity as a whole will change. Have you guys seen Ghost in the Shell by chance, or Akame ga Kill, or any other of these like futuristic animes? If you have, it always starts somewhere. You know, we don't just wake up one day and we're in Ghost in the Shell. It just takes time, like one invention after the other, for us to actually end up in this type of dystopia, because it'll be so separated from what we humans see as humanity as it is now, that it'll start getting skewed, it'll start getting blurred, and yada, 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 yada. So Hololive is pushing for this technology. They do want to have this experience because it is amazing. I'm not trying to sit here and say, oh, it's doom and gloom, but that technology in itself is very, very, very creative. It is very impressive at a super high level. Like, legitimately a super high level is that impressive. The shareholders, on the other hand, that have the money to fund this very ambitious project, they don't really care about the project. They just care about making money back, right? So with that being said, Yagoo is literally sitting on a tightrope trying to make these ambitions come true. He's trying to build for this amazing future for the company, for the viewer experience, for the fans, for the people, for the community. And he needs to borrow money from the devil, basically. He basically needs to borrow money from the devil to make this happen. But when you start borrowing money, people are going to want some money back. So that's why it's such a slippery slope and such a tightrope. And I understand why people will want to graduate, because now they're going to have to start doing things that make a little bit more money. Shout out to the people in the comments section in yesterday's video. I got a whole bunch of perception from you guys. So thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts, your opinions, and what you think is going on. It was less of a, well, this is what I think is happening, blah, 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 blah. But it was like, well, if you look at these patterns and you think about it, like maybe this is possibly it. And honestly, maybe that's possibly true. I will say that. But I have no idea. None of us really have a true idea except for the people that are really in Hololive. And even though my educated guesstimation, that sounds amazing, it's still a guesstimation and it's not fact. And it's not backed behind anything besides what everybody is coming together to say and what we are thinking and looking at patterns. Because life is patterned. Life is pattern recognition. If you have good pattern recognition, you can kind of see what's going on. And if you looked at just life in general, which is what I do for like my life, I like to explore life in general. You can see how life is legitimately progressing and changing and becoming more and more blurred with this and this. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, I would say when it comes to graduations, expect for there to be more as things change progressively, but also expect for new talents to come in. And maybe those new talents will also grab your heart and your attention and your dedication. Or maybe not. Also, the people that are graduating, there's a high likely chance they're still going to be on the platform that is YouTube in general. Or they might go do something else IRL. Who knows? But you're probably going to see them again just in general, right? So I wouldn't be so sad about it. I understand the death of the character. That is, you know, the character is leaving. Gargura is leaving, right? Ame is gone, right? But these people still reincarnate, right? So it's not that sad, but I understand that it is a change and it's no longer going to be Hololive. So I have no idea what Doobie is doing. For a perfect example, what Ame was doing and what Doobie is doing might be pretty different. And from what I had seen, she's doing stuff more with tech. So if you weren't interested in tech, well, you might not be watching Doobie like you were watching Ame, because Ame was like gaming and she was still doing cool stuff and with progressing with VTubing. But it's still different, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully everything goes well for Gargura when she graduates. Enjoy the 2 weeks you do have with her. And thank you, Koefficient, for creating this video. I think it is important to have this conversation in general, not just about Gargura, but what VTube culture, VTube entertainment, Hololive, and all these other things encompass this graduation. It's not just Gargura leaving. It's, hey, things are changing in this medium. Things are changing with this company. Things are changing all the time. How do we move without everything just going to hell? You know what I'm saying? Without everybody going crazy. The best thing we can do is have a conversation. A clean and cool, collected conversation. Don't listen to people stirring the pot like Callie said, because of course there's going to be people there that they have nothing better else to do than make people mad. Just move past them. They don't even really matter. They just exist to other people that agree with that type of mentality. We don't agree with that over here. So if you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the conversation, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I go through them, I dissect them, and I think about them. I'm like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Blase, blase. So if you guys enjoyed it, and if you want to further the discussion, you can join the Discord down below. Go into the chat and you guys can talk about it, and I'll be there and I'll be watching. And until next time, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Again, shout out to Koefficient for making this amazing video. Shout out to everybody that's been helping move the conversation in a progressive manner. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Namaste. Peace.